Good morning and welcome back to my shop. My name's Jamie. Today we're going to be taking a look at this 12-inch rotary table. This is a Troyke manufacturing company rotary table. It is a BH-12. This is operational. It moves. I haven't spun it all the way around yet. But it is a bear. This guy, as we all know, these things are super heavy, but just how heavy is it? So we're gonna see if I can put this up on my scale and see what this guy weighs in at. Let's see if I can make sure it's centered on there. Yeah, 110. All right. So I picked up these instructions off of the Hobby Machinist website, and so the shout out goes to the username T-Mate, one word, T-Mate. And in this regard, it's definitely a great teammate for the group. Has shared these instructions on how to disassemble a rotary table, and also provided some diagrams. So I'm going to follow along with what they provided and see if we can't take this guy apart. All right, first things first here, let's see if we can identify some of these parts. So I have the section through clamp. This is a cross-section view, and I believe it's looking right here at this screw, which is used to lock the table. Now it does have this handle, which doesn't really thread in here, so I'll have to fix that up. But can feel how that would, yeah, it feels like that locks the table in. So this screw here would be the number 537 table lock screw. All right, so remove the lock rod behind the screw. So first thing, let's remove it. So we'll just back this guy off. Remove the lock rod behind the screw. Mine had a 14-20 threaded hole in it, so I screwed in a machining bolt and pulled it out. Otherwise, use a magnet. Oh yeah, okay. You can see that. Let's try a magnet. I have one handy. See if this guy will fit in there. Nope, that one's too big. Nope, magnet won't grab it. All right, that is great advice. That threads right in there nicely. And we can pull out the lock. Just noting that orientation that the slant is facing down. Okay, next, remove the backlash adjustment screw, number 529. It's right here, 529. So as we look at the table, over here on the side, it looks to be a, okay, looks like it's over here. Flat flat screw. That is just a flat head. Alright, so we'll take this guy out. Alright, so they look to be a 3/16. Okay. And then, yep, there's another one in there. Okay, yep. And this one, remove it without dropping it inside the case. There it is. A little longer. Now the instructions here say that it's pointed. This does not look pointed. Yeah, again, that was not pointed, although on the diagram you can see that it's pointed there. So I've got a hole here on the side it's filled with dirt. And let's see if there's a hex head or socket head cap on the end of this. This is just going in. This actually might be where the oiler is, where the oiler goes in. Looks like, I think that is the case, and it is just filled with grit. This has quite a collection of strange washers. I think the prior owner made a mess of that. Comes off easy enough. Okay. So underneath the axle here is another Allen hex head. So we'll loosen this up. Okay. So this slides off part of the scale. Now let's remove the stud, 434. Now I'm only guessing, I have to guess here now that this large hex, even though it doesn't have a flat head groove cut into it, must be the stud. Let's see if we can remove that. I don't see any washers there. It does smell great. Okay, so there is, however, washer underneath. So we'll take that guy out. And then here comes the shaft. Looks to be in decent condition. Gears look pretty good. It's still unclear to me how this... okay, I see now. So this set screw, which, you know, in the description here it says that it's pointed. This one's not pointed, but it does, you know, it does have a surface on it, and it goes through a hole right here. And what I'm guessing is that depending on how it pivots on this stud, you adjust your backlash in or out based on how far that guy goes in. Okay. see what the inside here looks like. Okay. You will see a large circular nut with 2 holes in it, as you see here. There will also be a lockdown screw next to it. Lockdown screw could be there. It does have a set screw on the side. Maybe that's what he means by a lockdown screw. And the recommendation is to put some bolts in here so that we can spin this off counterclockwise. All right, so let's remove this set screw. All right, that should do it. And I'm going to make just a couple of marks here, just in case this needs to line up. Again, afterwards. Now let's see if we're lucky. All right, these don't go down very deep. I don't think I have a pin wrench that big. All right. I do have these. We'll take out the largest crowbar and see if we get lucky. Okay, let's see. That wasn't so bad. Although, reading it again, I think he says you're going to be lucky if the table just comes off. Okay, so this was maybe the easy part. So, can we lift? Oh, we've got this guy. Gotta get him out. We get the table and the base separate. Yep. Okay, we will be. It's heavy. Where am I gonna put it? Oh, what a chippy mess. Wow. Yeah, full of chips. It's like a heavy brake drum. This guy is now clean, and it's going to go take a bath in some Evaporust. So if you haven't checked out my video on how I made these flat stones, check it out. There's 2 of them out there. Most recent one is how I made these Norton stones on the Bridgeport using a diamond cup grinding wheel. I think they came out pretty well. And the secret tip to cleaning these is WD-40 and cardboard. Works great at, when they start getting grungy, you can clean them up real easy with that. So for this knob, I went back and forth on how exactly I'm going to get it to fit into this section here. So what I've decided to do is I've recessed this a little bit so that the shoulder of the handle will kind of fit in there. And then what I did was I made a little plug that will thread into that, and it should have a press fit into here. Let's see if that worked. All right, so that went in nicely. And then this thing, hopefully, nice, that will screw in. All right, I'm going to bring this over to the lathe and trim that off. All right, so here it is. I am pretty happy with that. That should look nice. All right, so just checking in on the base. I want to give you a look here. Got it painted and just waiting for it to dry. All right, so here's the top, fresh out of the Evaporust. And as always, that stuff works really well. Really well. So I'll just go through, we'll clean this up and start reassembling this table. So this locking ring has a unique feature I haven't seen before. So it has the set screws that come in on the side, but can you see that down inside here where the set screw would go in? There's like a threaded portion. It's a different material. Looks like it might be brass. And looks like that kind of presses in to lock the threads in. So I've never seen anything like that. That's pretty cool. And I did make a mark here, a witness mark. So as far as how tight this should be, it should be consistent with how we took it off. Right there, there's the witness marks. Yeah, we're gonna leave it right there. sometimes my foresight is helpful. I would say that was one of those times. Reassembly of this unit is basically the reverse of removal, with the exception of adjusting the backlash. So I'm going to save that for last. Put the locking bolt back in. So here's the adjustment bolt. You can see how that comes out. So I'm just going to leave it flush for right now. Well, I wasn't very happy with how this, how the handle was spinning. It felt like it was binding up a little bit. So I pushed out this pin that holds in the worm gear, and with a brass punch, I started pushing the shaft out. And yeah, I'm glad I did this. Look at all that metal grit and crap and chips that are in there. So I thought I would pause and kind of let you see that part of the assembly. Again, I didn't want to put it back together. It didn't quite feel right. So yeah, the chips everywhere. So I'll clean this up, slide it back together, get that roll pin put back in, and we'll be back in business. So the shaft has some scoring. This is where, some chips had got in there. So I'm just going to run this over to the Scotch-Brite wheel, take off any high spots on that. So the general consensus on how to get this handle off was to heat this up and kind of drive it down by punching it out. Now, that hole is just so small that I'm going to make it a little bit bigger so that I can get a punch in there that actually won't bend. And luckily for me, I have this new drill press. So let's get this bad boy fired up. All right, here in the annex, I have the handle on the press. I've drilled out the hole a little bit, and I have this screw which fits in there nicely. It's kind of stout and should be enough to push this through. I'm going to try to do this instead of driving it out with a hammer. I feel like this might be less traumatic, and we'll kind of know based on the feel of the press if it's working or not. Oh yeah, it's going right in. And the handle's coming right out. Perfect. All right, moving on to setting the backlash. There's a series of steps we're going to do here on the back. But the first thing is I want to get this stud fixed. So I don't want it so tight that we can't move it. And we don't want it loose so that when I pick up on it, it rocks. So I want to keep it able to move without it rocking, and then we'll lock it down with the lock screw. To set the backlash on this is definitely a bit of trial and error. So we have here's the mechanism that we're looking at. And we've got two screws. We've got the long set screw. We have B is the locking screw, and then C is the kind of the exterior screw. You can see this is the C screw right there. These directions, they're a little bit unclear to me exactly. There's a part here. So remove screw C. So we'll take that out. Draw down stud E, which is the main piece here. It says draw down. I don't know what draw down means. So I've adjusted it so that I can move the worm gear mechanism, freely without there being too much, play. Next, adjust D to remove the end play. So D is over here. There's no end play in it already, so I didn't have to do anything with D. All right, now remove screw B, which is the set screw, and turn screw A counterclockwise, not over a quarter of a turn. Replace everything, and then test. What's unclear to me is where do you start screw A? And so I've just been kind of starting at different places, and I have the results kind of where I want them right now. And I'm not sure if you can see this, but what I'll do is I'm going to bring this around to 0. Let me go the other way. So I'm going to take the backlash, I'm at 0. And then how far until I get movement the other way? And I'm at, looks like about 8 before it starts to go the other way. So I've got about 8, I think that's minutes. Could be 8 degrees. It's 360. No, I take that back. 220, 240. There's 250 increments here. So I don't exactly know. I know there's some minutes and seconds going on here, but what I'm going to say is that I'm looking at 8. Okay, so let me go one more step to show you how it works to see if that changes at all. So we're going to remove, back here, going to remove C. Going to remove the set screw, the locking set screw. And now the main screw, I'm going to back that off 1/4 of a turn. Okay. And I'm going to put everything back in. Lock it down. Tighten that up. Okay. Oh, all right. Can't even move the handle. So that is too far. I guess that's good to know, right? So that's too far. Let's unwind everything. So probably the #1 lesson is it doesn't take much. Once you get it close, you know, the idea of turning it 1/4 of a turn at a time, you know, really is appropriate. So I'm going to take this and put it about 1/8 of a turn back to the right. All right, I think I got it now. Okay, so we're going to go back to the right 1/8 of a turn. Lock screw. Screw. All right, still too tight. All right, now I'm definitely in there. I'm going to go 1/4 of a turn clockwise. And we're back to having movement again. All right, now let's check the backlash here. All right, now I'm at 10. Yep, 10. So I lost a little bit. So if I back that off ever so slightly, let's see if we can, we'll try another 1/8 turn backwards. So there, I'm in. So I'm going to go 1/8 of a turn right there. Okay, let's see. So we've got movement. Let's check the backlash. All right, so I'm back to that 8, which I think is about as good as it's going to get. And we want to check to make sure that it goes smoothly around the whole traverse. And there it is. Check it the other way. All right. So that's that. Nice and adjusted. I'm going to get some sort of an oiler here to cover up that hole. In the meantime, I just have a rubber plug. Let's get some oil in there. Seal it up. That guy's tight. Set screw. This is all set. So underneath this is also another place for oil. Get some oil in there. All right, and plug that back up. And we've got a couple of spots here on the table itself. Give that plenty of oil. got a couple of caps that we'll put in. Well, there it is, done. This guy came out great. I'm really happy with it. The movement is nice and smooth. I can't wait to get some projects where I can use this guy. For now, I'm going to leave it on the table. These are a bear, right? It's over 100 pounds, around 110 pounds. So we're going to pick a home for it, and hopefully I don't have to move it too much. But I'll be keeping my eye out for an 8-inch. I think an 8-inch would be perfect. And but for now, I've got this 12-inch one, and we'll make do with it. But it's been a really fun project, kind of bringing this guy back to life. And I do appreciate you watching my video, and consider subscribing if you'd like to see more projects like this coming up. I've got a Bridgeport vise that is covered in rust, which might be the next one that I do, but I'm not sure yet. So you have to tune in to find out what's next. But again, as always, thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate it. Good luck in your home projects, and until next time, we'll see you.